Good morning, students. I hope so. Everyone is good and everyone is fit and fine. So, this is lecture number 3 from chapter number 6, Human Resources, class 8, subject Geography. So, till now in this particular chapter, we have studied about how human resources is used as the ultimate resource, and basically they are used for the utilization and make it other resources more useful. Then we have talked about the distribution of population. In that we have studied about the pattern of population distribution that is there on the earth surface, how it is basically distributed, what kind of quantity and how crowded a country is, and what are the who are having the biggest crowded areas like South and Southeast Asia, Europe, North, and all these basic countries which are there, which are having the maximum population of all time. Then we have talked about the density of population, how you calculate how many number of people who are living in a per unit area. Then factors affecting the distribution population like geographical factors in topography, climate, soil, water, minerals, and other than that, social, culture and economic factors are also there. Then in this lecture 2 we studied about the population change, how basically the population changes like in the number of people during a specific period of time. In that we have studied about the how basic in the early years the growth rate was very slow and steady, but after the 19th century we have seen a rapid and a very fast growth in the population rate. So what were the reasons behind it, and we have seen these changes in different in the specific time period. Then we have talked about the basic idea of immigrations, migrations, how they basically these particular things change the population size, and then the pattern of population change. In that we have studied about how the population growth vary across the world, and it is not equal or same in every country's growth. Now in today's lecture we will be covering the last topic of this particular chapter, that is the topics to be covered in this particular lecture will be the last topic that is left in this chapter, that is population consumption. Now what does population consumption means? Basically how crowded a country is, and with that we will see that how different different countries out there are densely populated, but that is very much different from their economic development. To understand the role of people as a resource, we need to know more about their qualities, and for that we need certain surveys for that. So we'll be studying that in population consumption. Then I will be giving you the homework solution that I've given you in the previous lecture, and then I will be providing the homework that you have to do in this particular lecture. So these will be the things that we will be doing in this particular lecture. So let's just start with this lecture now. So first of all, I am just going to give you a quick introduction about this topic, that is population consumption. Now what does it mean? See, basically how crowded a country is, it is very little to do with its level of economic development. See, humans can, a country can be a lot of crowded, like India, we are having one of the second largest population of all time. But how this population rate helps in the economic development, it is totally different. The number of people that lives in a country does not tell about its economic development. For example, both Bangladesh and Japan are very densely populated, but Japan is far more economically developed than Bangladesh. So if we see and compare the two countries here, they have taken the example of Bangladesh and Japan. Same, both the countries are having equal kind of land and equal kind of population, but still Japan is far more economically developed than Bangladesh. Now what are the reasons for that? See, basically to understand these kind of reasons we need to understand the role of people as a resource. See, basically the role of people, what kind of job that they are doing, what kind of employment opportunities are there, what kind of qualities that they are having, what kind of literacy rate is there, the birth rate, death rate, everything matters here. So basically to study that we need certain surveys as well. So we need to know more about their qualities, and to know about that people vary greatly because of their age, the age matters a lot, then their sex, basically their gender, the male, female or others in other categories. Then literacy level, how education, like educated they are, like in a country, how many people are more educated and what are the number of literacy level of that particular country. And then the health condition, how like healthy a country is, basically the people who are living in the country, what is their health condition, what is the rate of their health condition, is more of the number is in like healthy people or unhealthy one. Then the occupation, what kind of job that they are doing, they are more into service sector or in the manufacturing sector or in the agriculture sector, it depends on their occupation too. Then on the income level, now every person is not going to have a equal income level, it is going to differ. So what kind of income that they are earning, what kind of like living they are particularly having, what kind of a particular living that they are having, it matters. So it is essential to understand their characteristics of the people. And population consumption basically refers to the structure of the population. Now what does that mean? Means the kind of structure of a population is that with all these categories that I have just talked about, that is very much essential for a country's like to know about the population consumption of a country. We need to know a certain pattern, and for that there is a structure of the population that is required. So basically to study that, we need to study about these particular things also. So the consumption of population basically helps us to know how many are males or females in a country. Now, so first of all, we need to survey different kind of things. So basically, I have just told you that these particular things are required. Now, how you are going to do it? So basically, for that, we need a proper survey, and we need to check in each and every country how many males are or female rate is there. Or like in a developing country like India, they count as per 1,000 male, how many females are there. If their number is increasing, so that's a good thing. If the number is like more less than that, so they see the kind of the sex ratio of that particular country, that how many males are there and how many female numbers are there. So which age group they belong to. So what kind of age group the maximum is there. Like it be basically studied from 1 to 5, then 5 to 15, then 15 to 25. That's how the particular there is having a pattern. They're having a pattern where they calculate about the age group they belong to. Now how educated they are, so they check their education level there. So they are studied till matrix, like till 10th, 12th, graduation or post graduation and so on. So they study according to that, how educated they are, what kind of level they have. Then what type of occupation they are employed in. So if they are how many people are engaged in agricultural activities, farming activities, or they are engaged in the manufacturing industries, basically who are making all the kind of products, or they are engaged in service activities, basically the companies that we work in, or basically in transporting things and all these. So the type of occupation matters, and how they are employed in also matter. Now what their income levels and health conditions are, these two categories also matter. So if like the farmer income would be very much limited to a certain number, then similarly for the manufacturing industries who are employed there, their income will be varying. So because of income level, the economic development is also there, and how many can live a perfect life, that also matter. That they are having a home, they can eat, they can have a 2-meal day. So basically all these things matter in the income level, that that particular country is economically developed. Then health conditions, what how many people are healthy, how many people they can treat it well, how many medical facilities they are providing. So all these things matter in the consumption of population. Now an interesting way of studying the population consumption of a country is by looking at the population pyramid. Now what is population pyramid? So उसको हम क्या कहते हैं, how basically it is seen and it is shown. So for that we need to study, and there's a lot of pictures that I have given you in your book. You can see it in your book also. The figures that have been given to you to see what does population pyramid is all about. So basically population pyramid, also called as age-sex pyramid. So basically how many number of males are there and how many number of females are there according to their age group. So basically in the pyramid you can see that the total population is divided into various age groups. So you can see 0 to 4 is there, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 30 to 24, 35 to 39, and so on. That is given to you in your book. You can see in the figure. So basically the total population is divided into various groups. For example, 5 to 9 years, 10 to 14 years. These are the examples. Now the percentage of the total population is subdivided into males and females in each of those groups. So basically to calculate the percentage of the total population, they have subdivided into males and females. On the left side you can see the male one, and on the other side you can see the female one. So in each of those groups. Now the shape of the population pyramid tells the story of the people living in that particular country. So mostly if you can see that the highest category that is there in 0 to 4 and 5 to 9 mostly, and then it is decreasing like similarly to the age group of all that is there above that. Now basically this population pyramid tells the story of the people who are living in that particular country. Like the number of children below 15 years are shown at the bottom and reflect the level of birth that is coming up. Like jitne paida ho rahe hain, you can see that the level is very much high. Now the size of the top shows the number of aged people above like 65 years, which you can see that ki jo top of the pyramid hai, the number is very much less. That reflects the number of deaths. So basically the population pyramid also tells us how many dependents there are in a particular country. There are two groups of dependents: young dependents like who are aged below 15 years and elders dependents who are aged over 65 years. So they have divided this particular thing in two categories. The first one is there the young dependents who have aged below 15 years, and the elder dependents who have aged over 65 years. Those of the working age are the economically active. So basically those of the working age, so basically working age is the in between of that is economically active, that they are studying, they are like economically they are employing themselves, their health condition matters. So the population pyramid of the country in which birth and death rates both are high is brought at the base and rapidly narrows towards the top. If you can see that it is basically narrowing towards the top. In the starting it is very much high, but how the age is increasing, how the time is increasing, so basically it is getting very narrow towards the top. So that shows the death rate of a particular country more often. So this is because although many children are born and a large percentage of them die in their infancy, relatively few becomes adults and there are very few old people out there. So this situation is typified by the pyramid shown for Kenya in figure number 6.7 that you can see it there. It is basically given for the one country. Jahan pe you can see that the different shapes that is there, that is given to you. Like in countries where death rates especially amongst the very young, you can see that it is a lot and it is basically decreasing towards the above when it is getting narrow. So the pyramid is brought in the younger age groups because more infants survive to adulthood. So basically in the starting we can see a very good growth of birth rate and they are still surviving to the adulthood. Now this can be seen in the pyramid for India as well, which you can see on figure number 6.8. Now such population contain a relatively large number of young people, and which means a strong and expanding labor force. So basically you can see that how basically it is getting narrow. It is the level is like very slow and steady. It is very slowly it is decreasing. It is being stable and most of the time. So which means that they are having a strong and expanding labor force. More we can see that in the figure. Now in countries like Japan, that is given on figure number 6.9, you can see the changes that you can see. This particular pyramid is completely different from all the three pyramids that we have seen, because they are having low birth rates that makes the pyramid narrow at the base. So you can see that they are having very low birth rate because of certain restrictions they are having, or this particular country might be following certain pattern for that. So they are having low birth rate that makes the pyramid narrow at the particular base, like you can see in the figure number 6.9. Now that decrease the death rate. So if you see in the above ratio also, the death rate is also low. So that decrease the death rate allow numbers of people to reach old age more. So they are more skilled, spirited and hopeful young people who have undoubted with a positive outlook and are the future of many of the nations. So we in India are fortunate to have such a resource, and they must be educated and provided skills and opportunities to become able and productive. So in India also we are on the path of Japan only, that the birth rate is still high, but still we are very much fortunate to have such a kind of a resource that our education levels is good. We are providing skills and opportunities to provide and to become more able and productive. So that's it for this particular chapter. We have done with and completed this chapter. In the next lecture, we will be completing with the summary lecture, and I will be assigning you assignment from this particular chapter, and most probably on Tuesday we will be having the test. So I will be letting you know the date as soon as possible. So this is the entire chapter. Now I am just going to discuss about the homework solution. So I have given you a few of the questions to do. The answers are there. You can check your answers, and we can discuss that in online class as well. So the first question was, you have to define the following. The first is how you, birth rate. So births are usually measured using the birth rate and the number of live births per 1,000 people. So how you calculate the birth rate is basically the number of live births per 1,000 people. Now the death rate, deaths are usually measured using the death rate, the number of deaths per 1,000 people. Another is migrations. What is migration? Migration is the movement of people in and out of an area. And life expectancy, it is the number of years that an average person can expect to live. Now the another question is was, you can see the question from the book, because of both low death and low birth rate. And answer number 3, the world population reached towards 1 billion. So this was the homework solution. Now these 4 questions are there that you have to do as homework. First question is, examine the population structure of India. So you have to examine, you just have to write down few of the points about the population structure of India. Now question number 2, give an account of sex ratio with the help of a bar diagram. So I have shown you, it is there given in your book as well. You can see that how you can like make a bar diagram, and if you are not able to do it, you can let me know. I will show you how to make a bar diagram. Then question number 3, what are population pyramids? So you need to just define it. Question number 4, what are the consequences of population growth? Now what are the basic consequences that we can see in the population growth that you have to explain? So these are the 4 questions that you have to do as homework for today. Now if you are having any doubt, any queries related to today's lecture, today's homework solution or homework, you can let me know in the online class. I will be explaining you all these things in the online class as well, and we'll be discussing your doubts and queries in the online class. So that's it for today's lecture. I hope so you have understood each and everything, and if not, you can let me know in the online class. So thank you so much for listening to this lecture, and please take care of yourself.